Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review, and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today, we have a discussion on my weekly reading recap for the 17th of May, 2024. So, we are going to talk about the books that I have been reading this week, the books that I'm going to read next week, the videos we've made this week, the videos we're making next week, and then finally, we'll do like a little bit of a wrap up with everything else that is kind of going on. So, let's talk first about the book that I finished last week, or this week, which is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. So, I have finished this book. There's already a review on the channel. I literally finished the book and posted the review. I recorded the review within, like, minutes of finishing. I did the same for Demon in White, actually. I'm probably stealing the ideas from Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews. But The Tainted Cup is or at least kind of starts out as kind of a mystery, then it becomes more of a kind of conspiracy sort of mystery sort of thing. And it's kind of like Sherlock Holmes in like a mushroom punk world, which has also kind of big inspiration from the anime and manga Attack on Titan. So while I did not really enjoy the start of this book, for a few reasons actually, by the end of the book, I really liked it. And I thought that there was some fantastic representation in this book. And that also by the end of the book, the kind of the world and the characters and the mystery that had gone on were really, really intriguing. So really glad I read that one. I actually added this one to the TBR because it was the book club pick for Andrew Watson's Discord, which if you are not a member, I would recommend being so. You can find it in the description for all of Andrew's videos. His Discord book club is really good, and everyone was having a great time reading this book. And I just decided I wanted to join in. And it was quite a short book. So although it took me longer than planned to read it, because I ended up going to see a couple of movies and seeing some friends, I did really enjoy reading it. Speaking of a book that has taken me longer to read than I expected, let's talk about Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. So this is a really short book. It's not even 200 pages. But here's the downside, lads. The chapters are so long. You guys know I hate long chapters. You know I hate them. And the first chapter of this book is 35 pages. The second chapter is like 50 pages. There's only like 6 chapters in this entire book, and it's 200 pages long. You know I hate long chapters. I have switched over from reading the physical edition to mostly reading on the Kindle for the last day or so. I just changed the cover picture to the Tainted Cup so I'd have something to hold up while I talked about it. But while it is good, and I'm really enjoying it, and I think that this is the kind of book that I want to read more of, with this interesting prose style, this weird world, I'm really annoyed by how long the chapters are, because it makes me feel like long chapters make me feel like I have run a marathon, and not in the way of running an actual marathon, which I really enjoy, but in terms of I just don't like really long chapters. And the worst part is that most of these chapters are split into multiple scenes. I really like to finish reading at the end of a chapter. That's just how I'm built. That's how I like reading. And if I don't get to finish at the end of a chapter, oftentimes I will keep reading, even though I need a bit of a break, or I'm tired, or I know I'm not really taking it in because I've been sat reading and focusing for too long, which makes my reading experience for a lot of books that would otherwise be excellent a subpar experience. I think that by the end of the time that I get to this book, because I have an hour left according to my Kindle, by the time I get to the end of this book, I imagine I will have a fully formed, very realised and interesting opinion. Currently, my opinion is the chapters are too long, but aside from that, it's excellent. So definitely a big recommendation so far. but I need to see how it wraps up. I am also planning to re-watch, because I have watched already, the Alex Garland movie adaptation of this, and then I'm going to do a video for next week. So when we get to next week's videos, one of them will be this, comparing the book to the movie. So that's next week's one of next week's videos. After I finish Annihilation, so I imagine I will finish Annihilation pretty early this evening, because I've got a decent chunk of reading time booked in. And then you know what's coming up next. We're going from sci-fi back to fantasy, and if we're going to fantasy, we're going to The Fires of Heaven, in the next book in the Wheel of Time series. Matt and I have just been chatting about The Shadow Rising. He's just finished it, and we are in the planning throes for episode 4 of our read-along video. But I'm going to start book 5, and I will probably have finished it by the time we record our book 4 read-along in the exact same way that I have for the last few. I've just bought myself this from Waterstones. Accidentally bought 2 copies of the Fires of Heaven, because I forgot I'd already bought this one. So I'm going to go and pick Lord of Chaos up tomorrow, and return this one, swap it over, because they're all the same price. Well, I might check, see if my edition, the other edition, is nicer than this one. I have the exact same edition twice, but see which one's a bit floppier. But yeah, really looking forward to reading this one. As you guys know, I am loving The Wheel of Time. I think that Darko from Kindles and Kicks might have said this was his favourite book in The Wheel of Time. So yeah, excited to get to this one. It's also a little bit shorter. I mean, every book in The Wheel of Time is going to be shorter than, let's have a look at the end of the book, 877. So every book in The Wheel of Time is shorter than The Shadow Rising, but this one is 877 pages. However, I have to say, the font definitely does look a little bit bigger than the last book. I can't say that for certain because it's up on the shelf, but my theory is that because the spines of them are basically the same, even though the one's over 100 pages longer, my theory is that this is going to be a shorter. And yeah, I just flew through the last one. Even though I had barely any reading time, I managed to read it. So really looking forward to reading this bad boy. Yeah, hopefully I'll be starting that tonight. I like to read at least the prologue of every Wheel of Time book before, and then like the next day start it proper. So we'll see. I'm hoping to read the prologue tonight. Videos. So videos this week, we had the Tainted Cup review, we had the Cosmere character tier list, and we had a Wandering In read-along video yesterday. It's going to be another Wandering In read-along video as well, although that was for a 2,000-word chapter, and I managed to stretch it to like 7 minutes. So you can't say I don't make a quantity of content. Quality of content, probably dubious. Quantity of content, I've got your back. Now, oh, I forgot to say as well, if I finish this Wheel of Time book, I can't remember actually what is my next read. Let's check it out. I know I've put it on... I know I've put it up as a post, I think, on View, Channel, Community tab. Yep, okay, so on my next book is going to be obviously a sci-fi, and my next sci-fi is Shadow of Hyperion by JCM Byrne. So this is Thursday as I record this. It's not unlikely that I will finish this before next Friday. It's not impossible. It might be a little unlikely actually, but it's not impossible that I'll finish it. If I do, I will be reading Shadow of Hyperion by JCM Byrne next. Then after that, I have The Will of the Many and The Book That Wouldn't Burn. So for somehow, I've got 3 sci-fi books and 4 fantasy books this month. Maybe I will read Tales of the Sunny Volume 2, because I imagine that's not... I read that in a day last time, so maybe we'll do that. And that's the only thing that I have left before I can read Kingdoms of Death, which I think is the next Sunny book. So, yeah, maybe I'll read that. Anyway, so, yeah, great week on the channel this week, honestly. Not as good as last week, when my live video about tier ranking first books in series managed to get over 1,000 views, which is the only video I've ever made about books, not about tech like Kindles or whatever, that has gone over 1,000 views. So pretty happy with that. We will also, like I was saying, have the Annihilation video next week. Then there'll be the Annihilation book versus movie video. I do want to do another tier list because I really enjoyed making those. So possibly another tier list next week. If there's any tier list that you would be interested in seeing from me, then let me know. I also, as I've said a few times, want to start speeding up a little bit on the Wandering Inn so that we are finished with Volume 1 by the end of June. Some of the chapters coming up are massive chunkers, so I will have to do a bit of prep in advance. But yeah, I would like to do more Wandering Inn videos. So we may be getting 2 Wandering Inn videos some weeks. I think next week I have 3 videos planned, so we don't... and obviously I have 3 current reading book videos, 1 Wandering Inn video, and my weekly recap every week. We are coming to the end of the month, though, which is mad. In like 2 weeks, it'll be June. So I guess the week after will be when you see all my June-related stuff. So June TBR, that sort of thing. Secret preview. I will be reading I will be reading a Wheel of Time book, and then a few self-help books for SPFBO. If you guys would like to see a video about my SPFBO picks, please let me know, and I will record that one for you. I might do that actually anyway. I think it'd be fun to go through and like read the first chapter maybe of all the SPFBO books I've been assigned. Maybe we could get Philip in to chat a bit about SPFBO and his experience. That could be fun. Anyway, so been a great week this week. I did also go see a movie. I went to see the new Planet of the Apes movie, The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I rated it as I came out of the cinema as a 5-star, and then after thinking about it, lowered that rating to a 4-star. Mostly because it's a bit too long, and I think that while I was watching it, I was never like, this movie could cut this, could cut that, could cut this. In the end, it did feel like the movie was very long. So I would recommend it, but just with that caveat that it's a long movie, if that makes sense. Anyway, I think that's probably everything that we need to discuss, apart from, actually, the other thing we need to discuss is that I picked up a secondhand Kindle Paperwhite. I have been talking for ages about how I wanted to do a review comparison of the Scribe, the Paperwhite, and the basic Kindle, because that's now the entire current Kindle range. Now the Oasis has been discontinued. And I owned 2 out of 3. And I saw a really fantastic secondhand deal for one at my local CEX. So British people will know CEX. It's like a secondhand electronics store. And I actually had a load of stuff to take in there to donate as we're clearing the house out a bit. So I was like, well, I've got a voucher that will pay for almost all of a Kindle Paperwhite. Why don't I just pick one up? And I read all of yesterday evening on the Paperwhite. I was reading Annihilation on there, and really enjoyed the experience. I think the in-between size between the Kindle and the Scribe actually makes for an interesting reading experience. So look forward to, at some point in the future, a comparison video comparing all 3. And I do also want to do a video which will be like a standalone review of this one as a new purchase. And then at some point very far down the line, I will do a long-term review. Mostly the long-term review will be either when I decide to sell this one because I prefer the mini Kindle, or when I decide to sell the mini Kindle because I prefer this one. At the moment, I feel like they're kind of neck and neck. I do really enjoy the screen size. I really enjoy a few things about this, but it is a lot heavier because this glass covers like the whole of the front screen, whereas with the tiny Kindle, there's no glass on the screen as far as I'm aware. I think it's just the e-ink straight there. And it's a smaller unit, so less screen. Overall, much smaller. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I'll hold on to those thoughts. Those are my preliminary thoughts, really, anyway. But I'll hold on to that, and we will come back to Kindles in probably a month or so. So, yeah, I think that the Paperwhite is basically the default choice for most people, which is interesting. Feels like most people don't buy the basic Kindle. I think I'm the only person I know, well, apart from Criminally, who really rates and recommends it. I think I'm the only person, at least definitely the only booktuber I know, that reads a lot on the basic Kindle. Most people are using the Paperwhite. And then the odd few have the big boy. And you can tell the last time I used it was when I was reading Demon in White. So, well, I used it for notes a lot, but the last time I was using it for reading was Demon in White. Anyway, we've talked a really long time. I've rambled a little bit. We've talked a little bit about this Kindle. I'm going to get back to finishing Annihilation, and I hope that everybody is having a lovely week. I hope you have a great weekend. If you want to drop in the comments and tell me what you've been up to, what you've been reading, what you've been watching, what you've been playing, if you have any thoughts or questions you want to ask me, especially if you want to ask questions about the Paperwhite, so that can help me make a review that would be better for you, please drop them in the comments. If you like this video, give it a like. And of course, please subscribe to the channel. We've hit over 600 subscribers now. We were at 610 last time I looked, which is pretty cool. And we are, as I've said it before, on that march to 1,000. Very much looking forward to hitting that big milestone. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching along. Have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you on Monday.